Hello, welcome to Quackalope. Thank you for being here. Today we are covering, 5 reasons not to play Terraforming Mars. For one very particular reason, I think it's going to get people who actually like Terraforming Mars to watch this video, and I want to announce that Terraforming Mars is going to be one of the many games in competition at the World Series of Board Gaming held in LA,
Vegas.
right?
Vegas.
Like Vegas, legit Vegas that I've never been to. Tickets go on sale this November. Link will be in the top of the video description. And the actual event is next year, 2022, during
September 28th? What do you mean
September 28th through October 2nd, which is going to be across a weekend. So if you love Terraforming Mars, if you don't agree with any of our reasons, and you want to prove your own valor in the, competition of the Martians?
Okay, here's the deal. There's 16 games. You'll be playing against 16 different games, entering into competitions. The winners will be moving on to a final round where someone's going to win $25,000. So I think that's the part you forgot to talk about.
Oh, that's the selling part. Not just the nature of people wanting to prove their own valor.
They're like, you're the best at Terraforming Mars.
There's a whole slew of games to enter in. There's a lot of different people covering it and shouting about their own games. You can swing over to a variety of channels, including Watch It Play, Dice Tower,
Brothers Murph covered. You're putting me on the spot here. You're putting rolling dice, taking names. A whole bunch of channels have
this guy is going to be doing a recap after everyone's announcements have gone up. So either way, World Series of Board Gaming, check the link down below. That being said, if you're watching this video, you're watching because you want to find out if you should or shouldn't be playing Terraforming Mars, and we're not going to tell you that. We're going to tell you you hands down should not be playing this game.
Absolutely not. It's the worst.
Awful?
I love the question mark. She's like, am I supposed to say it's awful?
So I started out skeptical in Terraforming Mars. It was a game that was too heavy for me to approach. It was intimidating when it came to learning the rules, and I gotta be honest, the art aesthetic and graphics of it just did not sell me on the game. And then I played it, and I find it quite charming and intriguing. It's in your top 10 of all time.
Of course.
And I think it's sitting right there, number 2.
No, number 1.
Number 1
It's
for
my
you?
number 1 game of all time.
See?
Yes.
So,
And Blood Rage comes below that.
yeah. That being said, Alex, you want to start off or share with one of your reasons?
Sure, I'll take one. I'll start with one. And to be very clear, these are genuine reasons why Terraforming Mars might not be a game for you. It is a game for me. I adore this game. You should ignore everything I'm saying. But if you want the reasons why you should potentially genuinely avoid this, I'm going to start with Playtime. This is a long game. I would say depending on the player count you're playing with, if you're playing a 3-player game, which is going to be optimal, then you're looking at 3 hours could be a quick game. Because first of all, you should be playing with drafting. If you're not playing with drafting, don't play this game. You should be playing with Prelude because you don't want it to be a 4-hour game. But even with Prelude, it's still going to be a 3-hour long experience. And as amazing as that is, that may make it a game that just doesn't hit the table for you.
There's been countless times where all 3 of us have been in the same space figuring out what game to play.
I got this. This was supposed to be us playing the game. And I was like, Jesse, are you sure you have 3 hours tonight? And he's like, I actually don't. Good point. So we did this instead.
Yeah, so this is what we're doing. That is a completely sound and charitable reason.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good reason why we don't actually ever play it.
I just have lame reasons because I really am having trouble advocating for a game that I love. But my
advocating against the game you love.
Yes, that way. But mine is artwork and aesthetic. You mentioned that it doesn't
So she
appeal
took
to
my
you.
main reason, right?
Oh, I'm glad you phrased it that way because she took on my backup reason that I don't believe is a good reason.
Oh, I don't either believe it's a good reason, but Jesse doesn't like the clip art style of the artwork.
It was one of the very first things that turned me off of the game. I've grown nostalgic for it after playing some, but I gotta be honest, the production quality, the art style, everything across the board is not going to be to the degree or to the oomph that I would expect from a game that is so beloved by so many people. This, even the deluxe version of this, is still not as nice as you expect in today's marketplace with Kickstarters and kind of deluxeified components and minis and expansions. And this is sort of clip art cards that are printed on okay cardstock and some cardboard.
Now this is the one time I will defend this game in this video. The rest of the time I'm attacking it, which is the reason I don't think that's a good reason is I think that artwork and aesthetics are all the reason in the world for you personally to judge a game, to potentially not pick it up, to look at other games instead. But as far as myself, when I'm looking at reasons why you shouldn't play it, I believe a game is mechanics first. I believe art and aesthetics are something nice to have, but I can't say genuinely that's a good reason not to play this game. It's not. It's a reason you might consider when evaluating it, but it's not a reason I'll give you.
It's the reason that kept me from playing it for the better part of 2 years.
Which is fine as the consumer, but I won't give you that as a reason. The playtime is a genuine reason you might not want to have this game, but the artwork, that might be stopping you, but it shouldn't.
So what's another reason that you have on your list?
Oh, another reason. Another reason will be the player count. I mentioned briefly that, a game that ideal at 3 players. I think it's ideal at 3 players.
You actually like it as solo.
I was gonna say. I thought I was calling his. He prefers this at 1.
No. I'm gonna cover one. But 3 players is the sweet spot if you're looking for the multiplayer experience. 2 players will not give you the same degree of area control you want on the board. I'm willing to play it at 2 players. I usually find other games instead. 4 players is just turning your 3-hour game into a 4-hour game, and it doesn't add anything to the experience. So why would you ever do that? Unless it's because you want to play Terraforming Mars, which is a valid reason. But really, solo is going to be the other option. I think solo is really, really solid. It happens to be, I've been pulling out Terraforming Mars Ares Expedition more and more if I want the solo experience. It gives me most of what I get from solo. I still like Terraforming Mars a little better, but Ares Expedition is a lot more accessible. So I haven't played Terraforming Mars plain regular solo since getting Ares Expedition. Whereas I still think it's much better for multiplayer. Which really means that for me, this is primarily and almost exclusively a 3-player game. Maybe you want games that accommodate more players. Maybe you're only really playing with 2, 4, 5, whatever players. If 3 players isn't where you're going to see a lot of your playtime, you may want to consider other slightly inferior games instead.
As far as I'm concerned, when it comes to Terraforming Mars, one of the things that I consider a strike against it is that the drafting variant is a sub-mechanic.
You just stole my next reason.
Not the first thing that they encourage you to do, which he's already covered in the Ares Expedition expansion.
Yeah.
Not Ares Expedition, the Prelude expansion is almost, it's necessity for someone who's approaching this. The only reason I had a good experience with Terraforming Mars is because I played with people who knew how to play it and how to hand it to me in a way that is palatable. I have to be honest, if I'd been given this game in almost any other system or way with more expansions, more rules, or without drafting to control or mediate for some of the luck that feels bad when you're playing, I probably would not have liked it.
Cool.
Yes, if you don't play with drafting, then you just have a lot of luck that can ruin your gameplay. It just interferes with the system that you're setting up. My thing against it is that to have a really optimal experience, you really want the upgraded player boards. If you don't have those player boards with the little notches in them with all your tokens, one little wave of your hand and your entire board and all of your numbers are across the table. You have no clue where you were at, how much you had of anything.
Yeah.
That's my technical thing.
And I'll go with player interaction. That's what it was. Player interaction in this game is very much on the low end, which doesn't bother me. It has one of the most rewarding tableau building experiences I've seen in any game experience, ever. But if you specifically want player interaction in this game, the player interaction primarily comes from the stance of, hey, sure, I just destroyed 2 of your plants here and there. And then a little bit of interaction on the main board, but it's really about doing your own thing. One of the reasons to play so well solo is honestly the main reason I want the other players at the table is so that I can draft them cards. The rest of it, I don't really care that much.
Yes.
Yeah, I think the last big thing that I have on it, because I haven't played as much as either of you, this was the first game you ever purchased.
Yes.
One of the biggest things I have as a strike against Terraforming Mars, and it's really just going to come down to your personal preference and tastes, is going to be how in-depth the tableau building gets in this. You are building an engine in front of you of cards that start sequencing off of other cards to give you more resources to kind of chain production, and that's great if you love that type of system. It does it probably better than most other games in the genre. That being said, there's a lot of little numbers. There's a lot of fiddly math. There's a lot of fine-tuning and perfecting your choice. And if you want to sit down and play a relaxing game where the concept is to just have fun around the table and not stress about every little card that you add, working towards the greater scheme of things so that your colony doesn't freeze to death in the vacuum of space on Mars. Is that how Mars works, or is it hot?
No,
it's red, so I assume it's hot.
Vacuum of
Either
coolness.
way, this game just would not be right for you, period.
Yeah, I agree with you completely. That was my reason number 4 as well. The idea that I love tableau building, but if you don't like the number crunching, if you don't find it rewarding, if you find it stressful to try to think through which combination of 14 cards are going to be good for you this round, as much as I love it, it doesn't make it right for you.
Additionally, every single choice that you're making is meaningful because every time you choose to keep a card, you're paying for that card. It is very, very tense when you are drafting those cards because you want them all and you cannot afford them all, and they can all help you.
I thought of one more good reason.
Okay.
If you're a masochist and you don't want to give yourself any pleasure whatsoever, then you should not play this game.
Should not play. Honestly, this is a game that is popular enough, acclaimed enough, highly rated enough, loved enough from people at the table here that we didn't need to do a review video complimenting it. We needed to do a video giving you all the reasons we could think of not to play it, because if you're still here, you probably you probably should.
Yeah, and joking aside, there are real reasons. There are real reasons to consider whether it's a game that's right for you. This is a game that's very much right for us, but as a certain small upstart channel likes to say, sometimes think games are right for you and sometimes they're wrong for you.
And like I always do at these 5 reasons not to play videos, I'm going to sit back and open the floor to either of you. Both of you can interrupt each other and take control if you want. We're going to toss in 60 seconds now for you to talk about your favorite game of all time and why people should play it. And I'll do a hard stop after 60 seconds have passed.
This is the most epic tableau building game where you have such satisfaction seeing what you can do, how you can mess up with the other players, the interaction, the tenseness, the moments. Just make this an amazing game. Go.
It has one of the most rewarding drafting experiences I've had in any game. Every single card you pick from that draft is another choice, another option. And are you going to pay for that card? Because they're all so rewarding. They're all so incredibly cool in what they're going to do for you, what they're going to add to your tableau. But the problem is every card you keep is a card you have to pay for, which leads to these gut-wrenching decisions as far as how do you move forward. That card's perfect for you 3 rounds from you, but it'll start 3 rounds from now, but it'll stop you from playing anything else this turn. The entire game is full of tough decisions about what to do, how to do it, when to do it. And it's one of the most meatiest, delightful experiences I've ever had. It plays well solo, incredibly well, despite what I said. It is still good solo, and it's one of the best 3-player games I've had. It's a game that even right now, I'm still sad that we're not playing it instead of this video.
You think you got it? Was that within? You're usually really on point all the time.
I'm on point.
He is on point, probably. Either way, goodbye.